Welcome to the Asking Why podcast. I'm your host, Clint Davis. I'm a marriage and family therapist and licensed professional counselor trained in trauma and addiction. The Asking Why podcast is for anyone on a journey of healing and restoration. If you are searching for answers to life's questions and want to learn more about root causes from a psychological and theological mix, this show is for you. In this podcast, myself and a co-host from Clint Davis Counseling and Integrative Wellness will interview guests on a wide range of topics in order to get down to the heart of the problems facing our world and understand why things happen and how to change the world and ourselves for the better. Want to learn more tips and tricks to living a healthy lifestyle? Visit us at Clint Davis Counseling and Integrative Wellness on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to meet our staff or book a speaker, go to clintdaviscounseling.com. Thanks for listening and be sure to subscribe today. All right, welcome to the Asking Why podcast with Clint Davis, and I have actress Katie Chonacas on today, and we connected on a thing called Podbooker where you can get on different people's podcasts and just kind of see what they're about, and so we thought each other's profiles matched up pretty well, and so we're just going to talk a little bit about acting and what she's got going on, and so Katie, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Chip. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and what your story is.
Wow, who I am. Well, that's a discovery. I think, being here as a human, it's a discovery of who we are. So I grew up Greek Orthodox Christian. I grew up with, Greek mythology and the poets and Plato and Socrates and literature and language and culture and food. And that really made an impact on me as a physical sensorial being. And it gifted me, this endowment and this space to go into the world and meet all different kinds of people. And being an actor, being an artist, being an entertainer, it's so cool just to listen and observe and watch people's behaviors and what they're into and not shame or blame or right or wrong or judge, but just be curious, like the number one emotion, curiosity, to be curious. And so since I had that as a, intuitive hit at a very young age, it really set me up for being an artist in life. So everyone called me like an old soul when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Everyone called me a Renaissance person. And in the age of what we're going through with Web 2 and Web 3 and NFTs and, taking all of my artistry and being able to pivot that into Web 3 into NFTs is really cool.
I listened to a podcast that you were on recently talking about you were the first person to do a poem on NFT. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I'm the first love poem on the blockchain coupled with the original Polaroid Bipolaroid. I'm actually one of the very first female identifying, people to actually sell their music NFTs too. I dropped my album Dreamland 1111 on 11/11, my birthday last year, and not only in Web 2 but on Web 3. And Blake Jameson, who's an amazing NFT artist, curator, and producer, collector, he bought 2 of my music NFTs at Art Basel. So that was like a really pivotal moment in history that people will look back upon and see that I was on the forefront of the Renaissance era, the generation, and what we're growing through right now, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that for people who are listening who don't know what an NFT is or have no clue what's happening?
Sure. It's here to stay. It's non-fungible token. It's a digital asset, right? A non-fungible token. It's one of its kind, each NFT, and it's through the blockchain technology, which is exposed on the blockchain, which is amazing. And it's like this matrix code. And basically everyone has like a public wallet when you have these wallets, and you can see the interactions that are happening on the blockchain and who owns what, and their digital assets. I think it's better for the economy. I've been to so many places in Bel Air, these estate sales, and, you go and like a man has like 500 suits or like 300 pairs of glasses. And it's like, it's clutter, like it's materialistic, it's consumerism, like we don't need all these things. And it's like everyone, Gary V, he's a pioneer in the space, entrepreneur, like Gary Gary Vaynerchuk, if everyone wants to look up him, just Google NFT, Google Gary V, just go on a rabbit hole, do your own research, and like just start learning the psychology of NFTs and, shape shifting in the direction we're going, without gatekeeping, with kindness. But digital assets, it can be a JPEG, which is a photo, but it's the utility behind it. It's the community, it's the people, it's the intention. For example, like and it's also like, it could be an MP4, so I just dropped my podcast as an NFT podcast a few weeks ago. I wanted to do it a year ago, and I just finally did it a few weeks ago. So my podcast is an NFT podcast. My music, I have 49 pieces of content that I 1000% started producing as an actor when Jonah Hill and, all these amazing actors were at the SAG union saying, hey, like with the iPhone, with technology, go out, shoot your own content. So I started doing that in 2012, 2014, like almost a decade ago. And I was shooting my own content through the union, putting it through the union, but owning my own content, music videos, web series, short films, all those things. So I can take all of those things and put it on the blockchain and put it out. And, and pioneer as an artist, as an actor. I'm already talking to Hollywood, onboarding actors, and like they're just like trying to understand like what is happening with like everything I'm saying.
I think everybody is.
I'm probably going too fast here.
No, you're good.
But the cool thing about it, like I said, is like the utility behind each NFT and the people. Like you're hearing me and people are like, oh my God, like I love her vibe. She's a mental health advocate. She's an artist. Like she's really out there. She marches to the beat of her own drum. She stands for, people and stories, and she has just really good intentions, and I want to support her. Like any human being would want to support, right? Or it could be like a team of people or a community you want to get involved in, or people want to be involved in, my community and what I'm building. It's kind of like going to a Korn concert or a Britney Spears concert, any concert you'd want to go to. It's like you're walking around and you're like, you go to the concert and you're like, yo, like, that's what my people dress like. That's what my people, these are my people who are into the same kind of music and vibes, right? And then you leave, you're at a dome, you're at this concert in real life. Right. Then you leave and you're like walking down the street in your subdivision, at the mall, like wherever. And you're like, where are my people? Like you feel like you're not connected to your people. So this is, and then, with social media, everything's all over the place. And it's like, who's a bot? Who's real? Who's authentic? Who's not? Are they only wanting you because of like what you have or the illusion of what you have? And it's like, nah. So it's like, NFTs, like astro emojis. It's one of the very first mental health and wellness, projects on the blockchain. I'm about mental health. They have, mental health and wellness festivals in the metaverse monthly, and I'm supporting and helping curate amazing people for that. And it's like people who are into doctors, scientists, psychologists, those kind of things are going to want to be a part of those kind of events, like that you would actually really go to. But what you're doing is you're actually like meeting other people, like-minded souls and beings who are into that kind of thing. And that could be golf. Now there's NFT golf. It could be polo. It can be like whatever subject you're already interested in, but like they weed out all the stuff, and the communities are very authentic about like, exposing certain kind of people if they don't have the best intentions for the project, the community, to, so we can like support and be kind and watch out for one another. It's a great support system. So I'm all about the ethics of NFTs.
Yeah, that's cool. I've heard, a lot about it, but that's a new take on it. It's kind of a backlash or a pushback to somewhat on the social media world of, like you said, Facebook or Instagram or whoever owns those networks. And so they can use marketing and manipulate and algorithms to get you to look at stuff you don't even want to look at. And you think people are on the same page or they're in a group, but they're totally in the group for the wrong reason. And I had somebody wanting me to set up a mental health group on Facebook or something. And I was like, I'm not managing that because, the people that have to be on there, then you're managing conflict. And so what you're saying is within the NFT world and with all that, it's more of a curated, it's a group of people who have to pay or who want to buy in, who want to be there because they want to be there genuinely with the community. And so therefore it weeds out a little bit of the chaos and the manipulation. And
yeah, well, so like the word buy, you don't have to buy anything. You can still be a part of the community. They have Discords, Twitters, so you can still be a part of the community without buying the digital asset. But when you have the utility of the digital asset, then you could go to IRL in real life events, exclusive on merch, when they have speakers, whatever the project or the NFTs about, like you have like firsthand, right? It's like kind of buying a subscription to something, right?
Exactly.
It's like if you want to play Minecraft, like, you can download the app and then there's the free version, right? But then there's for the bells and whistles and, you know, the certain gamuts and levels and blah, 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 you can buy like gold points and things like that.
Absolutely.
And kind of decide what's good for you. So there's no pressure in buying or forcing to be a part of something. There's different levels and tiers of what's good for you. And we naturally do that anyway, but it's being, you know, in a system, and it's being in a new way that's, you know, celebrating one another and connecting us authentically, you know, which is really amazing.
So what's that been like for you, like to put your stuff out there? How has it been different doing an NFT or doing a blockchain or doing any of these things and having this community versus doing some of the movies? So for people, can you tell people kind of a little bit about your acting journey and what you've been in, and then how that shifted into what you're doing now and what's different, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. So I love like, you know, life. I love being in the arts. You know, with you know, acting, it's with any profession. It's like, you know, with acting, it's you don't get paid to audition. You have to buy headshots, right? Or have a photographer shoot you. Hair, makeup. I have new headshots this Friday. You know, it's like they can be anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,000 for headshots, right? Unless you have like a trade, a barter, a photographer friend who can shoot you. And then there's like hair, and then the looks, and just making sure you're well rested and hydrated. So like, you know, you're not puffy eyes, and the shoot and the shots come out great, you know, like hair, makeup. It's a lot of work that you need to invest your time, your energy, you know, which is like a currency, right? But you can't like put a coin on that or like put a dollar amount on that. It's our self-care, and it's our preserving ourselves. Like, you know, then you have to like be in acting classes and know the craft of acting. And now, you know, everything's remote. So like you have to have the lighting kit, and you can get them very like cheap on Amazon, but you're doing self tapes, and you have a coach, and you're in class, and you're studying, and, you know, you have your team, and you know, to get represented, and then the kind of representation you're getting, and know thyself. Because like when you're meeting people and you're like meeting them, like, are you aligned to them? Are they going to want to work for you every day? If you're a union actor, they only get 10%, you know? So it's like all that other percent is what am I doing on a daily? And now there's social media involved. And do I do it myself, or do I have a social media team? And I have someone to help, you know, an administrative person who now supports, you know, the different legs and avenues that I'm involved, because I'm one person, and I don't always want to be like in my throat chakra, analytical, like spinning out in my head. Like I need to like offset some of this so I can feel, research, and do the craft of acting, right? And then, you know, you're like meeting managers and agents, and to have representation. And now there's different markets: New Mexico, Atlanta, New York, LA. And then, you know, being able to be a local hire. And then like, you know, then just like auditioning. And then when you do get the auditions, and let's say like there's the quality of auditions that you actually want, you know, to make an impact, you know, that I see the vision and the highest for myself, and every individual is different of what they're into and what they want to do, you know, then I audition for the projects. And, you know, 99% out of 100, like I'm never going to hear anything. And like the psychology of getting so deep into a character, if it hits me and I get it and I'm going cool, and it's comedy and I just go. But then some things you become really engrossed in, and you do things on a psychological level. You go to places where most people cannot go to. That's why the millions of people love watching TV and movies and cartoons and animation, because, you know, it makes them feel something, and it inspires them, it moves them. And you know, so when you do get that job, like the accolade and the importance and how sacred it is for one to experience that. I mean, for me, that's the victory of it all, because I mean, literally I can audition for 1,000 movies and maybe not even, you know, get one.
Right.
But so it's not for the money, you know, the money will come, but it's the passion, it's the fortitude, it's the ambition, it's, you know, the love of, you know, being connected, and not like the expectation of like the outcome, but the process along the way. And then, you know, that intertwines not only with the workplace of acting and the hurdles and like the casting directors and the directors, and, you know, befriending them and networking. And it's a lot. So the best thing one can do is just be educated, read, stand for Meisner. You know, like Uta Hagen, Respect for Acting, Susan Batson, the book called Truth, Truth. You know, they have, and all these people, not all of them, two are not around, but one, like Susan Batson, she has Zoom classes. So like comedy, drama, like what do you want to do? If you know, if you want to do acting, right? And so do your own research and know thy craft and literature and watch movies and IMDb, iMovie database, and it'll tell you who's who. You could do a 30-day trial for free on IMDb to like see who's in production, like who's casting what, directors, producers, things of that nature. Because then you can be meeting people. Like when I first went to Hollywood and I would go meet tons of people, I would collect like stacks of 50 business cards. And at the end of the night or the next day, I would just type them into IMDb and I'd be like, okay, like BS, throw. Some were working on like B, C level tier projects with like cheese ball. So that's not my palette. My taste as an artist, like what I see for myself, like what the kind of projects I want to be in. Throw away. Oh, you're doing this producer like works with Johnny Depp, or they put George Clooney in a film. I'm like, okay, like this person, I want to follow them on social media. I could want to take them for coffee, a Zoom. Like I want to like say, hey, can I intern for you? Can I be an asset in some way? Can anything I can do? Like I have a lot of energy. I just want to get into the brainchild of who you are. Like, or just like what, hey, I'm meeting you. What are like top 2 books you recommend for X, for personal or business? You know what I mean? And like, get into the spirit of like how people think, the way that they think for the things that you want to obtain or grow into, right? So those are some like hacks and some things I did along my journeys thus far.
Yeah, it's cool. So how's that switched into now with NFT? Has it been better? Has it, you know, the hustle of like before social media, before NFT, before all these kind of things versus now? What do you feel like has been the big switch?
Well, that could go in many different directions, and it's different for everyone because the art of communication, connecting with people, and then I'm a community bridge builder. So I can see an artist or a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, or a community of people. And what I do is naturally what I do as a human, I connect those people. So connect those people with no expectations. I think that sowing the seeds, you know, for me personally, like I know an artist, he just wants to do the art. He doesn't want to be on Twitter Spaces. That's where all the language and the communication and the rooms are happening. Twitter Spaces, if you want to like jump on. I have a pink sheet of divine feminine energy, people I respect and admire in the space. If you just go to chonacas.com, you put in your email. I have an automation that's set up for people so they can have that. It's a gift just because, you know, that's what community is all about. Like sharing in an ethical way, because there are a lot of bots. There are a lot of, you know, people out there who will try to scam you, fish you, take advantage of you. And that's like in life. But, you know, honing in here, film and TV, it's very early. It's very, very early, you know, for Hollywood. There are people, Jordan Bain, she's a filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker. Julie Pacino, who, you know, she's raising funds. She's shooting her project called The Madonna Inn in June, all based off of all crypto. I'm in a NFT group chat for films, specifically films, and we share information with one another. There's a project called Hidden Ones. You know, you can mint and then just pay the gas fees. Blockbuster has a DAO. There are producers and filmmakers who are in these educational rooms talking, sharing information, things of that nature. So right now it's like being talked about and built of what we want, what we don't want, what doesn't work, what works, what, you know, what's happening in Hollywood and how people made films in the past. And we don't want that. So these are the forethought leaders who are saying like, this is what we don't want. This is not going to happen. This is what we'll have. I'm curating with Rad NFT TV. So it's like a non-fungible token where each artist, each person, like a TikToker or a model or you or a podcaster, anyone can have their own channel, and it's subscription based. So people will be paying subscription based with crypto, and they can have their own channel. So I'm curating and onboarding. So if you wanted to have a channel, I can curate for you to have your own channel. Like people can be celebrities or not celebrities. Like you can be a sovereign being and take creativity into your own hands. And on these different marketplaces, there's smart contracts. So all the percentages for first, secondary market, things of that nature, they're in the smart contract on the blockchain. So instead of like jumping a hurdle and needing like permission from an agency or needing permission from some like a gallery, to accept my work, to like my work, to represent my work, you can put it on the blockchain. The people can see it. They can pay you directly. Yeah. And when it sells, if it's a subscription, that's one thing. But then if it sells, then someone else, you get that money. But then when it sells on secondary market and every time it resales, it's in the smart contract from day one that you get that 10%. Most people do 10%, whatever percent you want to do. And you can take that percent and you get residuals on that like a union actor, right? But like with galleries, and if you do a non-union movie or commercial or voiceover, you're not getting residuals. You never see it. The art collector, the broker, they get the deal, the agent gets the deal, and then it's off into the world and they can play it forever. Or, the artwork behind you, like the piece of artwork, it's just there forever. But it's like, and other people could be buying it and reselling it and you don't know where it goes. But on the blockchain, you can see where it goes and you get residuals and you don't have to do anything because it's in the smart contract from day one. And lastly, you don't only have to be on other people's marketplaces and smart contracts. You as a sovereign being, I'm making my own smart contract right now. So like Manifold, Manifold XYZ, you can make your own smart contract on Manifold. You can bring people to your own website. They can mint an NFT is called a mint when you purchase it. It's like purchasing a mint. And then there's gas fee based on which platform you're on. There's Ethereum, Polygon is less gas fees. It's like tax in a city, right? Like how much tax you're paying in a city. So some people have like lower gas fees, no gas fees, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's cool. I think for people who are listening and they're like, I don't know what they're talking about. It's a shift in culture from actors, musicians, comedians, doing all this hard work, doing all those things you listed, all the things off the clock to get to be able to provide their gift right to the world. And then that being given away and the people who really didn't do the work, who didn't put in the time, benefiting the most financially, while you're emotionally taking everything on. And now the world is shifting to where people can do their own work and then they can quantify for themselves with the contract. Hey, I'm producing this song. I'm producing this poem. I'm producing this book. I'm not having to go between four people whose agenda is something else. And then I'm not able to see where my blood, sweat, and tears went into this. It's just over. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. And so it's a great time to be an artist. It's a great time to be a human. It's not only, it's great for artists. That's why it's like, it's like when you like stream millions of songs and you get pennies, from all the distribution platforms, that it's like, and then they get the money. Who are they people that we never see? And they're making all these millions of dollars. No, it's all being hacked. And same thing with TV and film too. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that switches over into like the healthcare market, and I think we'll see that kind of shift as well to where you don't have the CEO of Pfizer, making $27 billion while the people who are on the daily, risking their lives are making $30,000 a year. It's kind of it's kind of the same thing. I think what I tend to, from boomers or people, who are what I call analog to digital converts, right? People who are 32 and up, they don't understand a lot of this because they never shifted from, they've shifted from analog to digital. But a lot of the people who are younger, who are coming up, who are wanting to be professionals and musicians and artists and all of that, they're wanting to go, hey, I don't want to get screwed for 20 years by these people who I'm never going to see and be manipulated by and abused by. And we see that in the Me Too movement and a lot of the things that have come out. Just, I think in some ways this NFT stuff is an answer to allowing people not to have to suffer all of those things and let their 1,000%.
Yeah.
Let 1,000%.
Let all their community support. And that is the beautiful thing about it, just organically as we're talking about it, just, it's still a risk. Right? It's not like everybody's going to throw an NFT out there and you're going to be a millionaire. And that's not really the point, right? The point.
Everything's a risk. Everything is a risk.
Yeah. But it's a lot less of a risk because we're seeing in the digital marketplace, at least, that our communities, people, our culture, they actually get behind stuff that's legit and authentic and good, versus being manipulated into, a popular actor just because they're the person, even though there might not be as good quality as somebody else, or even, marketed a certain way. And, these people give them this time and they won't give this, I'm sure all that. But the NFT, allows for that not to be the case.
Yeah. A couple things. I have a friend who's puts healthcare into NFTs on the blockchain. I can introduce you. You could have her on the show probably, but she's one of the first person I know who brought healthcare to the blockchain. I have another friend. She brought nonprofits, and she has multiple nonprofits on the blockchain. Yeah. So, and then Brittany Lachlan, who was on my podcast, she's all over the place podcast. A few weeks ago, she's executive directors for the Stacks Foundation, and Stacks is STX, and it's built on Bitcoin. So you can actually there's only so much Bitcoin, but by having Stacks, you can stake and hold, and you can actually earn Bitcoin. In addition, there's NFTs through Stacks, and soon you're going to be able to have not only Stacks and earn Bitcoin and stake, but you can actually have NFTs on Stacks and stake and earn Bitcoin, which is really cool. Alla, I'm with Heylayer. I have 4 collections on Heylayer. It's HEYLAYER. I have 4 collections with them. But Brittany, she actually is an educator at Cornell for the law department, right? And she's not an attorney. So the kids, the young adults in the school systems right now in college, they're learning all about the blockchain technology and the smart contracts and the laws and stuff. These people are going to be the people who are going to be doing all the, the deals and things like that. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity, I guess, for one who wants to learn more to YouTube everything to learn, but also, maybe take a class at one of these places if you're interested in to know the law behind it. We definitely need more attorneys in the space for regulating and laws, because it's all being built right now. We're building a whole new world, and it's so exciting to be a part of it. You know?
It's wild. I've been reading about it the last year or so and just trying to figure out what is happening.
Get in Twitter Spaces, and then put in your email, get my automation, and you'll see I don't know, I have 200 people that you can follow.
Okay.
And just get in the Twitter Spaces. And right now, if I go to my Twitter, let me just look right now real quick. So right now, because of the people I'm following in Twitter Spaces, you go to the very top. Well, uno momento. What's going on here? And you just, at the top, you just see there's mental health. It's photography. It's, there's a show going on, music NFTs, morning squeeze. There's a lounge. It's the launch of Coinbase NFTs happening right now. My friend Jimena's a Coinbase artist. So is my friend Gabe Weiss and my friend Sabat. They're Coinbase artists. It's an app, Coinbase. It's how you take your cash and then you transfer it to your MetaMask for crypto. Web3, what this means, the Alpha Daily, people just giving information, overflow of information, women empowerment. NFT artists come share. There's photography. Oh, Gary V's in a space right now. Oh my God, with Coinbase, the future of NFTs. Gary V's in a space right now with Coinbase. There's one called Cannabis. So fun times, burnout. So mental health. My friend Sheila Darcy, she's amazing. She's the one that connected me with Astro Emojis. Alpha Girl Club. So there's all these rooms. So it's you can have your own room, intro to Web3. You can create your own rooms. As a podcaster, you could literally be in a Twitter space right now with you and me and be recording this podcast to go everywhere, but also having it live in Twitter spaces so people can join and listen. And you just put at the top that it's a recorded room and you record it. Mm-hmm. And you can literally have people hear it live and then you edit it, whatever, and however it goes out to YouTube and everywhere else. But it's a great hack marketing technique for people to know more about who you are and what you're doing. I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is the really cool thing about it, to bring it to mental health. I think what I've seen and heard from people, seeing people for 10 years in practice, is the cost to people's mental and emotional health because of all of the extra stuff that doesn't get charted, right? That you were talking about earlier. And I think if we can come up with ways of putting out good content, putting out healthy, ethical, motivational stuff. I mean, obviously people are going to use it to do whatever they want to, and it can be nonsense or not nonsense. But for me, thinking about like, how do we make the world healthier and better, and how do we bring people together? This is a space where getting it out to more people, getting out that unique conversation to more people, you do it on your own and people get behind that, and that's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's doing what we're doing right now. We're in action. We're actually doing it. Start messy.
Right.
Not the idea of the expectation of how it's going to look, the imposter syndrome. Oh my God. Like I have no makeup on right now. Like I thought this was audio only and I'm like, yo, let's go. I'm like, no, let's go. You know what I mean? And you just do it. Just, yeah, good for you. But just do it. It's like, but being healthy communicators, one person at a time. Like so many people, like when I was in the union, right? When I first started, when I got into the union, oh my gosh, hundreds of thousands, and only like, the Hollywood, SAG-AFTRA, Reese Witherspoon, Johnny Depp, Meryl Streep, like all these people, like I felt like my voice was so small that I wasn't heard. It didn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of years for me to do what I needed to do, to start speaking up, to say like, to understand like my one voice does matter. It's a energetic ripple effect. So podcasting is amazing. There's almost 3 million podcasts, right? Who knows how many are inactive, but there's about 3 million podcasts. But whoever hears this, whoever's tuning in, it's meant to be, and if we can shape shift and inspire them and it makes an impact and they tell 1 or 2 people about it, if they share this podcast, if they take action and share the video with 1 or 2 people and they get inspired and then they share it with 1 or 2 people, it's the baby steps. It's being healthy communicators 1 step at a time. And we're a part of the ripple effect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think,
and then more people know about it.
That's such a beautiful, comment that everybody's voice matters, because it does. I think so many people, spend their life, you find a balance. I think starting this podcast a year and some change ago, the imposter syndrome or the like, nobody wants to listen to me, or who am I to have anything to say, because you don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to be unhealthy. You don't want to be telling people what to do. But what I've realized is like, I'm going to be me.
Well, some people probably do.
Yeah.
But they're just addicted to bad habits and patterns because they were taught through generations and they think that's normal. They're addicted to it because humans were very addictive in ways with our patterns.
Absolutely.
Not that they want to, but we've been conditioned to be that way.
Absolutely.
So it's
survival.
Instead of reacting, making a choice to respond. Mm-hmm. So what you were saying, I didn't mean.
No, it's good. You're right. I mean, the reality is everybody's got coping mechanisms to help them survive. And if we're not aware of them, then we just do the same things over and over. But I think part of learning to have a voice is trying to learn how to find that middle ground of being authentic, just being yourself, and then trusting that that's going to come off to the people who need to hear it and who don't need to hear it, instead of trying to be inauthentic and either be passive aggressive and, I'm not going to do it because I don't believe myself, or control everything and be aggressive because you think by controlling it, you're going to get the right people. And either way is inauthentic, so it ends up not working out very well. But when you find yourself being able to learn that middle ground balance of just being you, which I think you do really well, just your personality and the things that you're into, and like you're learning to just be you, and that's going to hit the people who it needs to hit. And the people who don't want it or feel weird about it or feel overwhelmed with it, they'll go a different direction. And learning to live in that middle ground, right, is the joy of life. I think for most people, when I work with them mental health wise, it's like, stop trying to be somebody, stop trying to be Meryl Streep, stop trying to be this, right? If you're an actress, like learn your voice, learn who you are. As a therapist, stop trying to be some person you saw in a video or something at a training. Learn to find your voice, curate that thing, work on it, make it your thing, and do it the best you can. I have 2 little boys right now, and that's what we're constantly. We just had this long conversation yesterday with my 7-year-old at violin. I'm like, buddy, I don't care how good you are, how perfect you are, if you do it all right, or if you're doing what the other kids are doing. I want you to be your best. I want you to do what is your best. Do you think you did your best? And he's like, no, I was messing around. I was like, well, that's okay. We can do that better next time,
But he was honest about it, and he knows he can do better next time, and he can try again.
Right.
That's what later's for. That's what tomorrow's for. And, in the 4 agreements, Miguel, Ruiz, like he has the 4 agreements, and one of the agreements, it's a beautiful book. If we're taking one thing from this whole podcast, just get the 4 agreements and then gift it to someone.
That's right.
But one of the agreements is do our best. So in the morning, I'm gonna do my best. At the end of the day, let it go. I did my best. Or, throughout the day, it's a stressful day, or I'm doing my best. At the end of the day, did I do my best? Oh, I could have did better. Tomorrow I'll try again. And that's it. We can just do our best,
Absolutely.
One thing I want to share with you while you were sharing all that is so vulnerable, right? Because it's changing every day, moment to moment. I'm checking in with myself, and the space to check in with myself, the space to not beat myself down, the space to befriend myself, because how we are with ourselves is how we allow others to treat us.
Absolutely.
So I allowed other people to treat me in such condescending, ignorant, diminishing ways because I was doing that to myself.
Yep.
And so I had to learn to befriend myself all over again. And, the artist way, Julie Cameron, like the artist way, like one time, like I would like, and I need to read that book again. But, so it's the second thing you take from this, the artist way. It's amazing. But like, what does little K want to do? I want to go get some ice cream. I had a good day. I want to celebrate and get some ice cream. I'm having a hard day today. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. Maybe I can walk into, let's go. One time I was exploring Upper West Side and I walked in. I'm like, I'm just going to scroll. I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to scroll. I'm going to walk around. And I walked into this like old classic bookstore and I wandered to Shakespeare and I read Shakespeare for an hour. And that's what little K wanted to do. So let's befriend that, start messy, and just like it takes one step and then another step and then another step. And then you start doing that over and over again. And it becomes, we build this outline, we build this platform, and then it becomes normal to treat ourselves with kindness, and it becomes secure within that self. I mean, I'll mention again, She's All Over the Place podcast, my podcast, which is women empowerment series. I did that for self-love because of the divine feminine energy of quote unquote it being a man's world, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I looked up to men for capital, for finances, and I didn't look to the divine feminine energy and to women identifying people to like those kind of things. I just felt like it was one of my weakest links, and I wanted to empower myself along that way. And I mean, I don't know when this series is going to go to, because I'm on a roll here, but I know that I was with some, like 6 females like last week in New York City, and the way things were, they were honoring me, what they were saying, how I felt. Like there wasn't the crux of the self-infliction or those, like, are they talking about me? Are they thinking about me? They're following up with me. Like I feel like we have like a synergy going, and I feel more confident about myself. But that's through this women empowerment series, to empower self and then to empower other people and hold space for other people, so we can hold hands, learn and grow together. And then we find out our differences, and we find out how we're alike, and we just embrace that. So I mean, this series could probably go, for a long time, but I was going to say something else in regards to all that. Oh, this is where I want to be super vulnerable, right? Is before, it might come out here and there before I don't. And now that, because what you were just saying a moment ago, it made me think of this. And I used to do this a lot, steamroll people. Like with my voice and my power and my assertive attitude, I would literally like steamroll people in such a way where it was berating. And it's like, instead of like, asking in such a way, and I'm still like an alpha, and I'm still like very direct in some ways, but I don't go over the extension. I have the self-awareness of like, okay, like this isn't a vibe where I want to go past this boundary, because it's making them feel uncomfortable, and actually it's making me feel uncomfortable. And why would I want to have them do something that they're not comfortable doing? Because it's not going to be the outcome that I think I want, although short term it feels like I'm getting the gratification of what I want, but actually I'm just cheating myself. And like, so I'm aware of like, oh, if something's not a vibe, like it's just not a vibe. And I'm like, okay, not judging, not shaming, not blaming, honoring. Thank you. Like, thank you for letting me know this door is closed, because there are 8 billion people out there who will align to the energy and the vibration of where I want to go to. So know thyself, Socrates. And as we're getting to know ourselves and we're aligning and attuning to, do I like football? Am I into basketball? Do I want to go play hockey or soccer or dance or whatever? Like these people who don't want to go do that, cool. Let them go do whatever they want to do, so I can align with the people who do want to go do those things. I'm an art head, so it's anything that has to do with art. Like, but if it's not your vibe, like, I don't want to waste your time and your energy. Like Gary Vee, again, like I was at a Worlds event in 2018, and he said when one person and another two people have an idea, it's worth $4 million, right? But he said the number one thing, So like I honor who's listening and I honor who's watching, because the number one thing, and you, Chip, and your producer behind the decks right now, like the one thing we have is our attention. We're focused here right now, and we literally can be anywhere, even in your own home or in your own office. You could be doing like so many other things, but we choose to be here right now. So the person who's listening and tuning in, they're choosing to be here. That's the number one most valuable thing. Currency, more than money.
That's right.
Our attention.
That's good. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen a couple times, so I'm gonna autocorrect it when we can take it out or whatever. So Chip is my assistant, so that's the email you got. Clint is my first name. Just to let you know, it's okay. I told your producer that, but I figured it happens whenever we do the Zoom thing.
Oh,
so it's all
maybe
good.
we should change the name. You can change it though before we hop on. Maybe we should change it.
We'll fix it. It's no big deal. Yeah. Anyway, Clint is my first name.
Cool.
Yeah, no
Hi,
worries.
Clint.
Hey, being my authentic self, I didn't want you to keep saying it and then later be like, oh crap, that was not his name. That was on.
Yeah, but when I said it in the beginning, you didn't mention it though.
Yeah, I didn't hear it, and then just now, I heard it, and then I was like, I don't know if she said it or not. It's no big deal.
All right, what up, Chip? How you doing, Chip?
He says, hey.
Background.
Yep. Anyway, but no, I'm with you. I think being authentic, and like 3 years ago, I would have probably never said that. I would have just let it go and been like, well, she didn't mean to, and we didn't send the right name and just let it die. But, that's part of being authentic, right? Is like learning to go, hey, I feel attuned with this person. This is a good conversation. How do we keep it authentic? And I think back to your point with, people who like different things. I think our world is, especially social media, has made us so divisive. It just constantly tries to pit us in these, well, if you don't like this and you don't vote for this person or you're not down with this, then we're against each other. And I think kind of circling back to the NFT movement, it's trying to say, hey, who are your people? And if you're not in this group, you're not against us. You're just not in this group, and that's okay. Go find your group. Go find your people. Go find your connection, because that's what we're all looking for. And
it's no shaming and blaming. It's
right.
Okay, and we don't need to explain ourselves. We don't need to validate to get someone's approval. The only validation we need is for ourselves. For example, I just cut you off, but I was at After Party. It's like Coachella, Lightning in a Bottle. It's the first IRL in real life NFT arts and music festival. And I'm like, and the creators invited me. So I'm like, yes. And I like went to Vegas and I went and it was amazing. Now, the thing is, it was so windy and I didn't know it was going to be that windy, but I had this awesome like hoodie, sweatpants, like dope, like neon, like tie-dye, glow in the dark. I didn't even know it glowed in the dark until I got to the event. But like all these girls, they're wearing like skirts that like go like right past their crevice and like these high stilettos and their hair's blowing and it's so windy and they're running up to me. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to go home and change her. Oh my God, I wish tomorrow I'm wearing that. Like I would have been you look so comfortable. And I was like, yeah, because like, of course I wanted to be sexy and reveal and be like the it person when I show up to the party. But also like, I'm going to be uncomfortable. I could get sick. I could like put myself in a position where I'm not going to feel comfortable and I'm not going to have a fun time. So how can I have a fun time, feel good, still feel sexy, still feel empowered, and I show up like a boss? And I was probably
in a glow in the dark outfit.
With my glow in the dark outfit, I was probably one of the best dressed there. But that's the power and the choice of validating so we feel good. Like, that's why when people get ready, it's not about like getting ready to
for
like,
everybody
look good
else
for the world.
Yeah.
It's like how it's going to make you feel, like getting ready, that confidence, that chutzpah or whatever it is, for you, but you feel that it's an energetic impulse from within that feels good. So whatever else happens, like outside, it just like, it bounces right off. You don't even attune to that lower vibration because you're vibing at such an attunement of being authentic with self. It doesn't matter what other people say. And if people say something, it's like, why not? Or like have a chuckle or laugh or like, okay, like, yeah, thanks for letting me know, or like, on to the next, see you later.
Right.
Like, not paying any attention. Dr. John Janquist, he's a scientist. He was on my podcast and he's partners with Tony Robbins. And right before he came on, like NASA published one of his studies, right? One of his reports. And like I was asking him and he was telling me like one of his favorite people is Winston Churchill, one of his favorite quotes. And he's like, it's fragmented, but if you stop and listen to every barking dog, you're never going to get to where you want. That's so right. Those energies and those peoples of what they're saying, it's like, it's just their opinion that's coming and going. And it shows like their character of who you are. It doesn't stand or make of who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't like listen to every barking dog. It's like one ear and out the other. And sometimes I don't even allow it to go in one ear. It's just like, it doesn't even register because I just don't align to it. Right.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think we're talking about a couple things in the psychological world. One is like attachment theory, right? And that is what your inner child kind of is how do you get your needs met? And a lot of the people that listen, a lot of people come to our practice and work with us. Like we talk about that stuff all the time because we never learned how to get our needs met. We got our needs met by being passive or being aggressive or manipulating or surviving.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Manipulating ourselves.
Yep.
Of what we think of how it should be or what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Based on our own calculations.
Well, yeah, because the narrative was written, early on by the adults in our lives. And, if we never stop to realize that narrative's false, then we just keep playing it out. And so what you're saying is, we have to, over time, rewrite our narrative and speak love to ourselves, speak life to ourselves. And for me, from a Christian perspective, it's that, God loves you unconditionally and sees you as worthy and sees you as valuable, and he makes you worthy and valuable. Nothing else does that. And so with so many of the toxic things that I think we talked about earlier that we're moving away from, it's, oh no, all these people say you're worth and value. If these people don't support you, if you don't get this Netflix special, if you don't get, hired to do this, if you don't get hired to do that, if you're not asked to speak at these events, if you don't dress up in this dress and show up in this way, then you're not going to get the thing. And what you end up seeing is people mentally and emotionally in our culture just completely killing themselves, literally and figuratively, for everybody else. And as we find that inner voice and as we heal that inner child and as we love ourselves, ultimately because I think God says that he loves us and finds worth and value in us, not because of what we can do, but because of who we are, then we live in the world in a space where then we have space to love other people who are different. But if we can't love other people who are different when we're constantly needing them to give us worth and value. Because then they have to like what we like. They have to be into what we're into. They have to do all the things that we do so that we can feel confident. And the moment that they don't, then they're either judging us or criticizing us or putting us down, and then we're doing the same thing, and around the cycle goes. But when you get...
Yeah, I got some chills with some of those things. I got some chills with what you were saying, 1,000%. And I didn't mean to cut you off again. I guess I'm just so excited. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're not cutting me off. It's a conversation. That's the fun part about podcasting and relationships. If we were sitting in the room, we wouldn't even notice that we cut each other off, right? That's the interesting thing. If you're in families where people just constantly cut each other off, nobody's offended. Everybody just talks over each other. So I like it. You're not bothering me. The angels can fly because they take themselves lightly is what a quote that I love, right? So you can't take yourself that serious. So but what I was saying is just all of that stuff goes into living a healthy, authentic life. And I think our entire culture, especially in all of the what we would see as Hollywood, acting, movies, sports, so much of the famous people, the people who are successful in that have sold their soul to everybody else's opinion, and they get really exhausted and really tired. And then they're in my office, saying, man, I wish that my marriage was better. Nobody comes into my office, Katie, and says, I want to talk about how I didn't make this much money this year. They don't come in and say, I want to talk about how I didn't get an Emmy, or I didn't talk about how I didn't win that surgery award. They come in because their marriages are falling apart, or they don't have a relationship with their kid, or they're drinking and drugging and doing things to hate themselves, right? To a point that it's like, man, I'm addicted. I have this problem and I'm self-destructing. And yet the world's saying, don't focus on that. Focus on getting and achieving all these things because those are so important. It's like, they're not important. No one comes in here to pay me to talk to me about the things that the world's telling them to focus on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the shiny things.
Yeah, and it's like
the illusion of the shiny things, of the expectations outside of ourselves.
Yeah, so I think
we have no control over.
No.
How can we control the things outside of ourselves when we can't even like get a cap on our own emotions? Like, know thyself. Again, like, people don't understand what's happening. A lot of people, you don't understand what's happening within themselves. That's why I'm saying, like, take moments and get to know self and make that a routine practice from within, when you know from within your core, then you're on this platform where no matter what anyone says, if it doesn't align with the rules of the game of life, of my spirit, my being, my temple, of myself as an individual, and then myself in partnership, and then myself in partnership with my family that I curated, and then in partnership with the family that was given to me. Like, there's different boundaries, and we need to be able to assert ourselves and not feel guilty, shamed, and blamed for not asserting ourselves, because then we feel unhappy because we're not listening to ourselves. We're bearing our own voice and not, doing what we want to do because we're sacrificing what we think we need to do, obligations for other people.
Absolutely. And I think there's a distinct tension in that, because I've
done it.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I do it. But sure. I do it. I still do it. However,
we all do.
It's a practice. I'm nipping into the butt. How fast can you nip it in the butt? Oh, I'm choosing to do this. I'm choosing. Now I'm doing it. I'm not being authentic. I'm doing it. I'm doing it from guilt. Why am I doing it? I'm doing it from guilt. I'm doing it because I want to, but I'm not being authentic. So if I'm not being authentic to myself, I'm not being authentic to the relationship with the person.
Yeah. And they don't deserve, that is a great point, because it's not about, I think the world's in this whole movement of seeing everything as selfish or narcissistic, which in some ways it can be, but we're taught as kids, if you say no, if you set a boundary, that's selfish. Right. And toxic people teach you that, because they go, oh, well, I need you to do what I want you to do. When you set that boundary, you're not living up to my expectation.
And they get upset.
Absolutely. It
doesn't matter that they're getting upset. We're only responsible to be authentic to ourselves of what we want to do. It's very simple. The monkey mind makes it crazy. Right. Dr. Joe Dispenza says 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 90% of the thoughts are the same thoughts going around in a track.
Right.
But it's an intuitive hit. I wanted to be on this podcast. I'm here.
Yeah.
It's yes or no. I'm going to church tonight for Holy Wednesday because I want to go. I don't have to go. I want to go.
Right.
I had a meeting. I had my assistant move my meeting so I could be there with my family because I want to go. It's awesome. A choice.
Absolutely.
I don't have to go. I want to go. And that's the thing. So if people don't know, write it down. I do a joy journal and a bothersome journal. 40 days, make a commitment. And you make the commitment. If you miss a day, you did your best, but make a commitment starting today or tomorrow, whenever, and you do a joy journal for 40 days. You put down everything that gives you joy. Coffee, butterflies, sleeping in, being on podcasts, talking, meeting new people, like Clint, whatever. Then write a bothersome page, everything that bothers me. And sometimes you might have to get all the bothersome stuff out first, so then you can feel that subtle shift in energy of when you go to the joy. Okay, I got my cup so empty. I got all my bothersomes out. Let me elaborate on my joyfulness now. Colors, painting, art, calligraphy, whatever, whatever excites you, but make it honor and a commitment to do it with self. But you don't understand, Katie. It's easy for you. Fine. Write a list of what you think you have to do because I have a child, because it's my mother and I have to take care of her, because she has no one else, because she's my mother and I'm here and I'm birthed from her, or my dad or my neighbor. I have to take care of them. I have to. All these things that we think we're so attached to that we have to do. Okay, maybe instead of doing it 100%, maybe you do it 80% and you find someone else to help the 20%. Oh, there's no one. Oh, I can't afford to hire anyone. There's always a way. By healthy communicating it, you're breaking up the energy of strickning intensely. 100% I have to do it, to putting the energy out there, and it shape shifts, and then it's 90% and 80% and 70% and 60%. And it's okay, I want to help this person. I love it. So I want to commit 50%, but the other 50%, it's going to take some time where we're going to shape shift and have other people start contributing. Even if there's no one, people will come. But if we're giving something exact, you're telling the universe on a macro level that you have it all figured out, and it's hard to ask for help. I know. And we think we're so attached, like our limbs, right? Mm-hmm. But it's an energy. It's a psychological thing where we trap ourselves in our own mind.
Absolutely. No, that's beautifully said. It definitely is the case. People trap themselves into a all or nothing type of thinking. And when we get in all or nothing thinking, we can already, if we write it down, we can see, right? Oh, I'm externalizing this stuck cognitive neuro pathway that I go through and I've been going through for 30 or 40 years. I write it down and I go, oh, wait, there are actual options outside of the ones I give myself. And then I have to actually, the problem, right, is that then we have to all take personal responsibility. So when
the other problem is we believe what other people told us as exact. We have to do this. We can't do this. And instead of making up the choice on our own as sovereign beings, we take on this bag of stuff that I have to do, that I can't do because of what other people think. So what if we were able to have a blank slate and a new canvas? A new canvas.
Yeah, you have to build it.
Yes, I like these things. I'm going to put it on my canvas. Nope, those things are not going on my new canvas. Create a new canvas.
Yeah, no, we need, and part of therapy, right, is great for people to have those experiential, experiences. I went, 2 weekends ago to Dallas, north of Dallas, Lampasas. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's kind of out in the country, but I did equine therapy with horses for like 4 days. And it was just about attachment work, and we did like womb work, and it's me and 13 ladies. And then, we're in this like stretchy womb thing and sharing our feelings and our emotions. And, by the fourth day I'm boohooing, and, it was a great time, but it was all that, everything in my body was saying, don't do this. You're the only dude. Like, this is uncomfortable. Like, all of that kind of stuff. But if we don't take the time to love on ourselves, nurture ourselves, then we can't give to everybody else. And as a clinician and a therapist and speaker and all that, like, constantly trying to give to everybody else. But if my cup is completely empty, then I'm not giving them my full self. And then I'm frustrated, and then I'm canceling, and then I'm overwhelmed. And so I think, but that learning to love myself enough to believe I deserve to go to something like that took a lot of therapy and a lot of rewiring and a lot of work and a lot of conversation. And
really? Let me give you a hack. You saw it, you wanted to go with that intuitive hit. Not all that other stuff that comes after. Those are just thoughts, FOMO, fear, about all those analytical things. Because you show up. The thing is, 90% is just showing up. If you want to do something, don't worry about what anyone else is going to say or how much it's going to cost to get there. Just show up. When you show up, everything else falls into place.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, most of the time our thoughts get in the way a lot. That whole weekend, that's what, was part of the work, was like, I was in my head with everything. But as you've talked about a lot, getting in your body, knowing yourself, understanding what you feel, trusting your gut. Now, our gut's not always good, but as we get healthier, then we can trust our gut more, right? And then we know, okay, hey, my gut's saying I should cancel this, or, and I tell my therapist that all the time. Like, they'll have a hard day or they'll have a hard session. I'm like, cancel the afternoon. Like, take your last couple clients off, go home. Unless they're in crisis, they'll survive and it'll be fine. But so as a leader, right, it's learning to give other people permission, like you're saying to people on here, like giving people permission to do it. And at some point you get healthy and you don't have to have that permission all the time. You can give yourself permission.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Again, that's a balance. I certainly don't have it right. I certainly have not worked it all out, but being aware of going, oh, that's dad's stuff. That's mom's stuff. That's little Clint stuff. Like, that gives you some freedom.
Yeah. Love all of what you're saying. Add value. Have you read, if you haven't, or if you have, for the mother womb, Bethany Webster, amazing. Check out her book.
Okay.
She has Bethany Webster, just Google it. She has an amazing book on the mother womb. Also Overdrive, for, the people tuning in. Overdrive, it's an app. You can download it. And you can listen, or you can read or listen to up to 30 audiobooks per month for free. It's through your public library. You just put in your library card, 30 seconds to get one if you don't have one. But that's where I listened to the audiobook for Bethany Webster. Also, Caroline Myss, MYSS. She's a mystic intuitive. She has like over 10 books, and it's her voice. And she's a mystic intuitive from Chicago, and it's so therapeutic and healing. It's amazing. I love her so much. Yeah. I love Overdrive.
Well, that's great. Well, look, I want to keep you to I know you got to go at 1, so I want to keep you to your time and respect that. I really appreciate this conversation. I'm glad you reached out and wanted to be on here, and I'm always looking for people to come on and talk about things that, we don't get the space, or people don't give space to listen to. And so I think this was super helpful. I love the NFT conversation. I think you clarified that really well for people, and merging those two things and people understanding where our world is moving, and why it's moving there, right? Because that's obviously the podcast called Asking Why, because I like getting to the root causes. I like getting out of the content and down to the why. And I think what you summarized well was, just for our listeners, is that, moving to NFT, moving to self-care, moving to these versions of life where the community can actually happen, where you can have your own voice and speak your own truth and all those kind of things, isn't always toxic. I think there's a version of speak your own truth and do your own thing that can be very toxic and can be that unhealthy version. And so people run from that.
But some people need to get that out.
Absolutely.
It needs to come out.
Absolutely.
Even if it's messy, even though it's ugly, even though you may see things you don't want to see, instead of having it inside and getting cancer and keeping the toxicity inside, like get it out and be like, oh my God, that was disgusting. But I'm taking responsibility. I'm cleaning it up. I realize that was gross, but get it out. Get it out. Start messy. Get it out. So then you can be like, then you can fill up your cup with what you want. It needs to go somewhere. We're human. Like, just learn to put it into a journal or learn, if you put it out into the world, be like, oh, that wasn't really good, and like see a therapist or like, listen to a podcast, like talk to a friend, like, like do different things, but we need to try and do different things. Also, a couple things of what you're saying. One, I would be happy to come back anytime and talk about NFTs because it's moving so fast. Like day to day, it's like 3 years, like light speed. The information's like week to week. It's just like new information. So I would come back anytime to talk about Web3 stuff. Also, a lot of people who I onboard, into Web3 and empower people, they tell me like, oh, there's a lot of like masculine energy on YouTube, blah, 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 blah. And like, it's like all these people like talking about blah, blah, blah. So it's like, so to have this on YouTube is really empowering so they can see some divine feminine energy, speak about the stuff we're talking about. Also, if your producer, editor, or whatever wants to take just the, like put the full on there, but just like take a clip of just the NFT stuff that we talked about, like in the chunk in the beginning, and just have that be like another short video where it's just focused on NFTs. I think that would be really empowering for people to see that to, cut through all the crap that's on there right now.
Absolutely. There's a lot. Well, that's what I loved about our conversation is that, we concised it and used it for that. And I think that's super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because that's what I've been wanting to do. So you're helping me do that as well. Cause I want to like be on YouTube and do more videos, and be on there, like utilizing my voice. So to be able to do it in this space and take that and put it there, it's like, it's already happening. And that's how, like, sometimes like the thought of someone who's still listening, or watching, it's like, the thought of like wanting to do something and manifesting it and not knowing how it's going to come out. But this is a collaboration co-consciously that's manifesting, that's actually actualizing and happening. And it has life of its own. So if we have the intention set up, it might not be in the moment when we want it to happen, right? But it can show up in a different way, in a blessed way. And it could be chills. It could be more than we ever could imagine for ourselves. And that's the gift of life. That's the beauty of life.
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, I do a lot of work. I know you don't know a lot about me yet, but I do a lot of work with human trafficking, and we work with women that come out of human trafficking, and wrote a program for trauma recovery for that. And so if you ever, on your podcast in the future, if you want me to come speak or talk, I also do a training for churches and the community on sexual abuse prevention, empowering, men and women to talk about their body parts and healthy sexuality and to kind of prevent the sexual abuse that's happening in the culture and in the church and just the community wider. That's something I do all the time. So,
I mean, that seems like would love that. Seems
okay,
like
cool.
It's one or two separate ones, but I would love, because it's all about women empowerment.
Yeah.
So to just, get it together, whatever you want to share. I would love to have you on She's All Over the Place podcast, of course. And I will share exciting news since we're all here talking about podcasting. My podcast has been in the top 5% podcast for the last 2-3 seasons. I just found out yesterday that my podcast in season 4 is now in the top 1.5% out of 3 million podcasts.
Wow. Congrats.
I'm celebrating.
That's awesome. You should celebrate. That's huge.
It's not even 24 hours. It's about 24 hours. It's about 24 hours now. I'm celebrating. And I was with my dad this morning. I'm like, 1.5. I'm like, what number is that? Right. And my dad's like, 1%. That's like 30,000. I'm like, okay, let's get to that 0.5% now.
Yeah.
Let's cut it in half. You know what I mean? So it's like, enjoy the moment, enjoy how far I've come. And then it's like, okay, 1.5. Okay, let's get to 1.
That's
okay,
right.
Enjoy the 1. Okay, let's get to that half. Okay. All right. And we just grow and build together, and that's life.
That's awesome. Well, I'd love to connect with you in the future and whatever doors open, I just enjoyed our conversation and these moments of getting to meet new people and talk through things. I think it happened very organically, and I'm honored to meet you.
Thank you, Clint.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.